welcome to our new episode of the podcast Evolving Dialogues. I'm your host Amit Shah, and today we will be discussing about what are your favorite books. I mean, mine, and Mani's favorite books. So we have listed down some books, and we will talk about that. So Manish, what are your favorite books?
First, let us discuss about the benefit of reading book and whether are you in the habit of reading book or not. Then we will definitely go on to recommend our list of book we have read, and then we want all of them to at least once this would read. And Amit, what in the morning when I was browsing my library of books, my piles of books, what I thought that book we read, suppose a year ago, at that time book takes over us, and we are really into that thing.
Yeah.
But what happens after a month? We totally forget it. So what I was thinking, I went through the book of second time. Second reading is a must.
Mhm.
Second reading of book that book really have some gems in it. We should definitely mark a book so that it would be not only second time, third time. I have uh, heard the people telling us that they have read 3 or 4 times
Mhm.
the same book. And if it is not a fiction book, it's non-fiction book, you definitely attempt to read it, and when you read it, you will feel more knowledge is coming, you will grasp more. And I have read twice a particular book, and I have felt that we should all read at least twice a particular non-fiction book, and we'll summarize. And speaking of the books reading, just this time something has came in our mind that we will definitely after the 30th podcast we will do, or something at a stretch we will do, then we will discuss book a particular day, one book, depend common book, best book, we will both choose and we will discuss about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, these were different things. Let's get to the topic. And benefit of reading book, whatever I have learned in my life for my
Mhm.
development, for my betterment, I think most of them have come through the books. Though we may not acknowledge it instantly, but somehow when we keep reading the books, those ideas starts coming into our mind. Those ideas start generating in our mind, and our thought process also change like that. And you see, if suppose you will have to write a book, suppose you start to write a book, you will definitely give you 100%, so the people will learn from your experience. So if someone has written a book, they must have given his 100% of experience to make the public at large learn from his experiences. So I always love a book, whoever write it, I always think that that person must have given so much time, must have thought about that. Once that book is in some person's hand, it definitely changed their life. And that should be the aim of every book, whether it's fiction, whether it's non-fiction. And there is something, there is really something take away from every book, and we will have to get that lesson learned, and known that what is inside that particular thing book want to tell us. So that, of course, my life, it was immense helpful, molding me as a person, as a character that I am right now, is because of the book. I am totally into it. I love. I will show you today. I had taken my book, all book to my office. Thought ki we will show there, but I have prepared my list of books that I had taken to the office to show to the audiences. But anyway, we will discuss this later, and we'll show our books and everything gradually. And but Amit, I really want to you the role of books in your life till that.
Yeah. Before I answer that question, I would answer the question why read books at all.
Yeah.
You see, our life is very short, and our experiences, as compared to the whole world, will be very limited. So, to live more than one life, to see more than one perspective, it is possible only if we read books. Books gives us the perspective of different people in different situation to live their life, to understand something, to learn something new, so that we can grow and evolve. And as you mentioned, like reading books twice or thrice, I completely agree because what happens when you read a book, you had some perspective at that time, but as a person, you evolve with time,
Yeah,
you become,
true.
you grow, and with that time, your perspective changes. So when you read the book the second time, you may get to see you may get to learn something new which you were not able to see earlier.
Yeah.
So that way you keep on learning even if you read the book twice or thrice. In fact, reading a good book twice or thrice may give you more knowledge than reading some new books sometimes, not all the time, but yeah. And to answer your question, how the books have changed my life, I mean, there is dearth of mentors in our country. There are so many people, so many students, but there is no one who will ask you that, "Hey kid, sit down and let's think what you want to do with your life." No one. So what do? You read books. You read great books written by great people or author or psychologist or professor. We are not going to recommend you some books because there are so many great people or so many great sites, websites who can recommend really good books.
Yeah.
And I remember earlier my view about the world was very limited. I was from a small town boy, and it was only when I reached college I saw my friends, my colleagues, and whomsoever in the library reading books. I was into reading books, but it was mostly engineering, quantum mechanics, physics. But those are okay to get the grades, but not to evolve as human, not to grow. Then I started reading books, and one of like the books like Mindset by Carol Dweck, Grit by Angela Duckworth. These books really changed me. I mean, in a lot of ways, and we will discuss how it changed me as we go along. For now, I'll ask Manish will tell us about his books and how a particular book impacted his life in a particular way, or yeah.
Uh, I really, you can say I'm a bookworm, bibliophile, in a way that I love to collect books. Wherever I see the books and get to physical book, I love to collect and I love to see them in the morning. That books are there. And today, Amit, when I was going through the books, really got into that. I really collected more book than required, and then I have more number of books unread lying there in my shelves, and I have to read that. And today's in the era of gadget, really require a presence and willpower to read a complete book throughout finish line. And if you do that, if you have those kind of habit inculcated, definitely you will going to rule this world, because I know in today's book not only teach you lots of give you lots of knowledge, but it will definitely give you patience. It is the easiest way to learn the patience. Well, nowadays is the world of reels, where people hardly give 5 minutes to watch any particular video. No, if you have really patience and book really glued you, it depends on the book also, that you stick to it till it completes. And I have my list of it's nine books what I have read, and pick out those books which I thought that this is the best book I have read out of the book. It's not recommendation of the book, but it is a book recommended or maybe selected by me as the best books out of the books, and then it has lots of gems in it. So yeah, my 10 recommended book, and out of the 10 which have something definitely really, I would say everyone should read it. That first book is The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. and definitely I have read it twice. And today also, I jotted down lots of lines from that book, and then just wait for some. Let me. Anyway, that book is really. Amit, have you read it? The Magic of
I
Thinking Big.
started, yeah, when you recommended it. I read few pages, and
Yeah, it has contained lots of ideas on the, including public speaking. Everything is there.
it's a very it was published a long time ago, right?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, but it's still a gem book.
Yeah.
Second book, I would say, is Bedazzle, which is written. It's not very. It's written by the Shamoli Khera. She is, I think, in the fashion thing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe fashion model or something. And I really, it has lots of thing to change your personality. Like you will have how to dress, how to uh, use your voice,
Mm-hmm.
everything to mold you as a become a best version of yourself. And it really a practical book. And she was a TV reporter, and she also given her own experiences of how did she go through the public speaking thing. Atomic Habits, I am
Yeah.
sure you must have read it. It's
Multiple
really
times.
James Clear. They have lots of uh, thing how to manage your time, how to make a chunk of habits, how to make it in chunks and do those things to make it your inbuilt habit. The quick and easy way to effective speaking, Dale Carnegie. Again, it is a very old books. It's maybe when Carnegie was no more, then her wife published it, and
Oh.
it was her journal kind of thing. And it's really have a practical. It's a very thin book, and it really have a gem and practical thing about the public speaking, because Dale Carnegie Institute is it the
Uh-huh.
personality and public speaking thing. You can win. Shiv Khera, again, I don't I know you are not big fan of this Shiv Khera person, but of course it has got a really lots of small story and anecdotes who that we can use it in the our Toastmaster journey. And everyone, that Chinese bamboo, that was there, and there are lots of little story, and that really, for that and quotation also, I like this book. And 15 Days to Master the Greatest Skill of All Time, public speaking, that Bhupender Singh Rathore. He has he was a very shy person, and he became now he's a public speaker. So who he mentioned, he wrote about his journey. It's like journal of his, how he was shy, and how he had faced problem, and how he turned himself into that public speaker.
Uh-huh.
So that his honest confession of his, that of course is not that much. You can also try that. Everyday Hero Manifesto, Robin Sharma. This is the person I started reading non-fiction from his novel. It is, of course, he is a great writer, and he loved to write non-fiction and motivational thing. And this is, I think, latest, maybe the last one, the Robin Sharma's book. It really contains his personal experiences in the very chapter one. Do Epic Street.
Yeah.
See, this is Ankur Bariko. This is really Ankur Bariko. I like this person, this guy. He does a podcast and everything, videos, and he really into advertising himself. He has lots of courses also, and basically finance thing. He has written in this. It's like you will see that it's like journalizing, writing a diary thing. He has
Mm-hmm.
written little things, and when the book, it's a very small book, that the pocket size book, and then it's really contain different. It is written in different manner. So that you will definitely try this. Confidence, your practical training, that I had mentioned you regard Ian Thorski. This also has a practical thing, and he has written down how to be confident. He has mentioned lots of example of person who become a public speaker, communicator, and how they did it. So these are the 9 books I picked out from my library today morning, and I took those books to my bag and went to the office. But somehow I was busy in office, and people came, so I left that book in that library, that office only. But now I would like to know about your books, and then maybe in top of your mind, if you have not written it on the books which you can think that it is the must read by everyone, suggested list from your well read, you are
So
from your books.
top, I would discuss about the top three books, or at least three books which changed my life. Like, or it's not changed my life, but it has been
Perspective.
a
Perspective.
practical. Yeah, it changed my perspective in a way. So the
Perfect.
first
Yeah.
book is Are You Listening by Kate Murphy. Kate Murphy is a journalist at New York Times, and she has been discussing about this. We all are trying to speak. We go to Toastmasters Club to speak gracefully. We participate in debate to be the speaker, better speaker, or something like that. But no one teaches us how to listen properly, and that is causing an endemic, you can say. People these days are in their own bubbles, in their social media with their headphones on. They're not listening to other people, but just the songs and whatever the social media is telling them. They're comparing themselves, and as a result they are aloof of things what going in the world, the real things. When you talk to a people, for example, I have been talking to you these days and I get to know so many things. I mean, if I read a book it will take me a lot of time, but the perspective and insights that I get from a conversation, not you, but I when I talk to a security guard, when I talk to some customers, the perspective I get just by listening. But when we listen, we always keep thinking that what we will speak, and that is, we are not doing a great service when we think like that. So when we are listening, we are taking a risk. That is what Kate Murphy says. We are taking a risk that the other person might say something which can be change your perspective or challenge your perspective, or the conversation might go in a direction where you don't want to go. So that is why mainly people don't listen. These are some reasons. The second book is Mindwise. It's about psychology. I mean, it's written by Nicholas Epley. He's a big psychologist, big person. He's a professor at University of Chicago, and he says that the world that we have inside is completely different from the world that is outside. So, for example, what Manish is thinking, I might think that he just came from office and doing the podcast is tired and everything, but that not might be the case. He might be thinking completely different. He might behave completely different from what I understand Manish. We think we understand people, but it's not the case. You can never predict a people. They are evolving, they are moving thing, dynamic thing. That's another thing. So I'll tell you one interesting experiment that Mr. Epley did, so which he mentioned in the book. So he took two groups of people. He asked one group that when you travel in a train, metro, and when you sit beside a stranger, you talk to them. You talk to them, and to other guy, he said that you don't have to talk to them. And there was this third group who can do anything they want. So the third group, most of them didn't talk because they thought it's very painful. He or she might be disturbing the stranger. The third group, they didn't talk at all. They didn't have any conversation or interaction with their fellow travelers. The other guy, they thought that we will talk and we'll make fool of ourselves. So why talk? But since they were paid to talk, so they talked. And at the end, they all reported their satisfaction about their journey, and the group that talked, they were the most satisfied and happy. We think that people might act rude or might say something which might hurt ourselves, but people are just like us. They also want to be feel loved. So that was really, I mean, it changes the perspective how these experiments, real world experiments, it changes the perspective that I think people hate me or something like that, but it's not the case. everyone is in their own world. The third book I would really recommend even you to read is Mindset by Carol Dweck.
I have purchased it myself.
So it's eating dust on your library bookshelf, on your bookshelf.
We'll definitely read it. Now
So
we'll target. Sorry, you continue, then we will converse.
yeah.
Sorry.
So in that book, she discusses about fixed mindset and growth mindset.
Yeah.
So she says that people who often who I mean, I'll get to the gist of it. People who often get depressed, get failed, get ego,
Yeah.
get so these people have fixed mindset. They believe that I have this talent and I can work in that field. But on the other hand, the growth mindset, they take failure as a lesson. They have this belief that any skill can be developed with particular effort, time, and they grow. Uh, for example, there is this Olympian who is way talented, and he thinks my skill is fixed. I can really swim very well, and there is this starting to practice swimming. So there is this talent guy who thinks his fixed mindset, and there is this guy who's starting, but he believes in growth mindset that he'll put in effort, time, and he'll grow. And when the study was conducted, this guy in the beginning was way ahead than this guy, but because of his limited belief that he's particularly talented in one skill, he only practiced that skill while swimming, while this guy tried all the skills, he practiced it day in day out, and he grew. And eventually, the where I'm going, he won. Also, during kids, it was seen that kid who thinks that they are good in math, they'll only do math, they will not learn new language, they will not learn science, because when they do, they will be seen as failure because they are not good at it. They think because they are not good at it, they will not
Yeah.
study that. But kids who take this as challenge, they put themselves out there, they practice, they fail, they have this painful experience, and they grow. Eventually, in summary, it tells us, the book tells us about life. If you think that you are not going to fail, you are living in clouds, because everyone is going to fail, and there will be times where you will be not good at many things, but you can grow and develop in those things if you put in effort. That's the crux of the growth mindset. And lastly, I said that I will discuss three books, but I want to discuss one more book, and it really changed my life. Although I don't see the benefits, like I'm not like earning six figures, but the 12 Rules by Jordan Peterson, it's one of my favorite book, and he's my favorite author. He talks about his philosophy, and I am really, my philosophy, the foundation of my philosophy is based on that book, or the thinking, or thinking of that author, Jordan Peterson. It is he who inspired me to go for Toastmasters when I was in college, to take up responsibility, to join gym. I mean, speak the truth. Uh, stand straight while you walk. Uh, don't don't harm anyone or something like that. Don't. There are many rules I forget, but I got the gist of it. I know. I mean, I understood the book, and I really idolize that guy. I really idolize that
So,
guy.
Amit, do you read no fiction book? Do you
So
like to read?
yeah, I have tried reading fictional books, but I cannot digest it. I have finished some fictional books, but I like reading books by psychologists, professors.
Yeah.
So these books, I don't know. I have like
Yeah.
inclination towards that, not this.
So,
So
often I started reading fiction book, though I had read many fictions to improve my English, because I realized that reading fiction books would develop your language much more than the non-fiction, because non-fiction book has uh, formal type of language written, but in the fictional book you will find the language we speak with each other,
mm-hmm.
slangs, and then those terms and idioms and proverbs they use in daily conversation. That way, I started reading. Uh, even I started reading, come into this novel reading comes into through fiction book only.
Mm-hmm.
That from Chetan Bhagat, 5 Point Someone, when I was in college days, and it was really about that. Three Idiots movie was based on that,
Yeah.
and then I became fan of Preeti Sonai book.
Preeti Sinha, I've heard about
Yeah,
her.
she has really write good books.
Oh, I've
So
read a book by that lady. She's wife of the owner of Infosys.
yeah,
Sudha Murthy.
Sudha Murthy.
Sudha Murthy. Yeah, she writes really well. Really well.
Yeah. She has lots of books written
Yeah,
for
yeah.
childrens as well. And then I started reading Petty Sonai. Then all the young adults book I started reading by that these days youngsters book, love story particularly.
Yeah.
There was a time I used to read lots of love story book, and it was really I really get into those emotions and feelings still.
Oh, it don't.
And then off late I
You look
started reading.
like, and I want to tell the audience that how Manish is really a serious kind of person. He hardly smiles. The fact that he's smiling in the podcast is a very big thing.
Yeah,
So,
no, I
and
smile
and
depends on
knowing
the
that he is
situation.
into emotions and romance thing is, I mean, you won't believe when you meet this person.
Yeah, I'm when you meet me, I'm a different person in different scenario and a different time, and really you may not recognize me when I'm hanging out with a person who are really doing like partying and everything. You may see that is this Manish? I will show you some videos of me. I had gone to the one conference of company secretary in Kolkata. It is not that far. It's I think 4 5 months back.
Mhm.
And really, it was 12 o'clock. I was totally means at my it was I was tipsy. I was dancing like anything, and people I was making video of me. I then saw myself. I hardly. And I will show you the kind of thing. So I am a different person with a different situation with different people. I want to explore myself, what kind of person I am, because you cannot be the same person every time.
Yeah.
We all have different emotions. It depends on the person which makes those emotions comes out from you. We all have those emotions. But I was telling you that after Preeti Sonai, uh, then there was Durjai Datta was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Also I read. These are chick kind of books you can say.
Yeah.
They are most loved by the youngsters.
Uh-huh.
And then off late, off late in that last or maybe the 2 months back, I started following that Navanil Chakravarti. It's a really uh, books. It's a erotic thriller, and that he really writes a great book. So
Nice one. So, Manish, we are like past 30 minutes, so
yeah,
we'll be
I think
stopping here. Our next podcast will be on the importance. You want to say something, Manish?
we'll. I think that since I will be tomorrow, I may get time in office or may not get time in office. We'll have topic like what do you say? You just gave me some indication. Yeah, you announce it.
The importance of writing, because we did reading today, writing
Yeah,
your thoughts,
importance
journaling.
of writing. Yeah, journaling or writing,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Writing in the sense it will be like to journal,
Uh-huh.
to general. We will importance of writing your thoughts.
So, with that, we are signing off. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.